Alrighty guys, we're back for some Golgari aggro, and this is a Streets of New Capenna standard build. We're going to go over the deck, then hop right into some ranked, but first things first, for anyone who may not know, I'm Redcat, and I play aggro decks, and any decks with red in them as well, so I hope that sounds fun to you. So what do we got in the build here? We have 3 Bloodchief's Thirst, because removal is going to be very important, especially with all the Boros floating about. We have 4 Reckoner Raids, which actually sees some play in mono black aggro builds, which is pretty cool, and I can see why. It's a solid card, but in this deck in particular, it being an enchantment is going to be very important because we kind of have an enchantment theme going on here. So we do have 4 Generous Visitors as well, which as we know, can be a very aggressive card. We have a couple Safekeepings. Now this could totally be Snakeskin Veil if you would prefer. You know, Snakeskin Veil could help you do like some combat tricks and stuff, but honestly, I think target permanent is going to be important here. Being able to protect some of our sagas or other enchantments could be really good. I think the indestructible could be really good here too, especially up against decks that like to run Doomscar. And then I also think that the life gain could be really good against those Boros decks that I just mentioned, right? Gaining 2 life never hurt anything. But yeah, if you want to rock the Snakeskin Veil instead, then go right ahead because that counter could be important too. We have 4 Life of Toshiros. Now you guys know every time I get the chance to run an aggro build with Life of Toshiro, I definitely cram all 4 of them in here because I think it's a terrific card that's actually very aggressive, and even just the -1/-1 ability, it comes in handy so often. Now people aren't running too many creatures with 1 toughness anymore because of all the Spikefield hazards floating about too, but it's still just a great card. And again, that life gain there could come in handy against those Boros decks, which you're going to run into a lot. Apparently it's almost 25% of the meta according to Aether Hub, which is crazy to me. We have 2 Tenacious Underdogs because it's a terrific card, 4 Kami of Transience because again, the enchantment theme, the trample is going to be pretty cool. Imagine playing Life of Toshiro while you have a Kami of Transience out, then giving that Kami a +2/+2. Sounds pretty good, right? Sounds really solid, actually. We have 3 Ranger class because it's a terrific card. I couldn't find room for 4. There were a lot of cards I actually wanted to pack in here, and somehow Ranger class ends up being pretty slow, especially when you take a turn to like level it up to level 2 or something. We have 4 Shakedown Heavies because holy cow is this card aggressive, a 6/4 menace for 3 mana, and if it attacks defending player, may have you draw a card. If you do, untap Shakedown Heavy and then remove it from combat. This card is crazy. Holy cow, and we've been seeing it being played more often, which is really neat, and I can see why. We have a Toad Rider because enchantments, but also this could be a very aggressive card too. Whenever you cast an enchantment spell, you get this a little legendary frog with whenever you cast an enchantment spell, each opponent loses 1 life and you gain 1 life. So holy cow, first of all, that's pretty darn good. But then it has this second ability here where we can pay 2 mana, have Toad Rider and target frog you control. They can't be blocked this turn except by creatures with flying or reach. So it kind of gives your 2 frogs flying, but they didn't want to say that, right? Because my assumption is the frogs are jumping into the air. That's that's actually really cool. But either way, this could be a very aggressive card, and who knows? It might win us some games. Maybe we want more than 1 in here, but it is legendary too, so I don't know. We have 4 Jugan Defends the Temples. So yeah, all the sagas in this build are pretty darn good. So that first ability does get us a monk, which does help us ramp. There's not a lot to ramp into in the build, but there's a lot of things to spend your mana on between the ranger classes or even the Toad Rider ability, right? So the second ability plugs some counters, and then when it flips into Remnant of the Rising Star, it does care about modified creatures because as long as you control 5 or more modified creatures, Remnant of the Rising Star gets +5/+5 and trample. But there's plenty of ways to get modified creatures, which again, that's another reason why you might want to consider Snakeskin Veil, but I still think Safekeeping is going to be better in this build. Visitor gives counters, Ranger class gives counters, Kami of Transience can give counters to itself, and even the Remnant of the Rising Star has that extra ability where when a creature enters the battlefield under your control, you may pay X. When you do, put X +1/+1 counters on that creature. So lots of ways to get modified creatures, and also, even when you do flip the Remnant of the Rising Star, it like, the opponent has to remove it almost right away, or you're going to be winning really soon anyways, so yeah, I guess as far as the Stakes Kid Veil goes, it probably isn't going to come too much in handy for the modified creatures since there's so many other ways to. We have 2 Hagra Maulings, which I'm going to drop in the mana base, but having that extra spot removal or potential removal is pretty important, and I keep bringing it up, but those Boros decks, they're rough. You need that removal for sure. And we have a Toski, Bearer of Secrets here on the top end. Can't be countered, indestructible, it attacks each combat if able, which does kind of suck because that means you can't save it as a blocker. But whenever a creature you control deals combat damage to a player, you draw a card, and there's tons of ways to get that damage through, and a little bit of extra card draw up here never hurt anything, right? Something else like with the Shakedown Heavy. So between Shakedown Heavy and the Toski, we should have enough card draw in the deck, hopefully. Okay, in the mana base, we are rocking a couple Hives, a couple Hydras, a Who Endures, an Abandoned Mire, as well as our dual land, and the Maulings too, don't forget about them. So, honorable mentions, Fight Rigging. Because we're Golgari colors already, why not have Fight Rigging in a build with Shakedown Heavy? It's even an enchantment, so it keeps the theme, right? I don't know, honestly. You could drop a couple Jugans and go up a couple Fight Rigging. There's not a lot of great top-end creatures to hit with the Fight Rigging, or top-end cards in general, so even if you get a free card off of this, it's going to be like a Kami of Transience or something, but I mean, that could be pretty good. And this does modify creatures too for the Remnant of the Rising Star. I just couldn't warrant having it in the build, but it's definitely an honorable mention, something to think about. Okay, I think I went over the deck well enough. You guys will have to let me know in the comments. Either way, let's go ahead, hop into some ranked, and see how it goes. We'll see if we can get right into that first match for some good luck. Oh, there we go. Okay, that's not bad. I'll count that. 4 seconds? That's pretty darn good, actually. Alright, opponent, what you bringing to the table for me? Whoa. Whoa. A bad hand. I'm keeping it. We don't have a play until the next turn, but we do get a draw here. Ah, okay. See, we could have drawn an untapped land. That's okay. The opponent didn't play anything on their turn 1 either. Don't get me wrong, guys. This hand was a mulligan. This hand was a mulligan if I've ever seen one, but we had a couple 1-drops, so it's definitely possible. And we still have a chance to draw a land, so very risky keeping a hand like that, though. Because generally speaking, if it's not in your opening hand, you just got to consider it not even in your deck at that point. Okay, it was definitely greedy, but honestly, I was rooting for that extra bit of luck to pull this through. Probably gonna keep these open for removal. Oh, they don't have it either. Hey, there we go. There we go. This works. That works. I'm gonna get this second visitor down because I'm expecting removal on the first one. We're gonna tempt them to not take it out in combat. Finishing verse. Yeah, so the opponent missing their 3rd land, that was pretty good for us. So maybe both of us kept janky hands. So the Reckoner Raid is going to be a perfect way to block these underdogs. Nice, now we're seeing some lands, so we didn't get too punished overall. So getting another Reckoner Raid down does gain us some life. And since I'm expecting more removal, I'm going to go Visitor instead of Road Captain this time. And then we'll go probably into the Wolf. Since Road Captain has Menace, I don't know what the biggest target is. Oh, that's right. The Wolf doesn't hit first. Yeah, I'm just crazy. I guess we'll go Road Captain. We'll split up the counters. And we'll swing since we don't plan. Nice. Nice. Hey, guys, we might get there. The opponent kept a hand with only 2 land in it too, and they're not seeing the land. So, this isn't too bad. We can get the Road Captain above the Underdog. We're getting dangerously low, but... Oh no, they missed another land. Oh no, I kind of feel bad. I do. I do like the Reckoner raid, but I think it's Ranger class, again, for more blockers. And we could probably go into you. We got to get this above a meat hook for 1 if they do draw a land. And we could successfully block there, but we can also trade here. So I think we swing for 6. Infernal Grasp on the Road Captain, that's fine. They're down to 10, and we still have the trade here. That was a risky hand. Yeah, GG opponent. They didn't see the land either, and I kind of feel bad because that was such a greedy... Like, that was such a greedy hand to keep, but then the opponent just didn't get to see their 3rd land, and we were able to do stuff with the 1 land and with 2 land, but then we did end up drawing the 3rd too, so that's pretty good. That wasn't bad. It was kind of a weird first match, like as far as showcasing a deck goes, but yeah, 22 total land in the build, but then 24 potential land with the Mauling, so opponent goes first. It's an alright hand. We just don't know if they're playing control, so the Bloodchief's Thirst might just not do anything. But with all the... There's plenty... Okay. Let's go... Get that swamp down, then Lair next turn. Yeah, there's plenty of creature builds running around, so... Yeah, okay, Bloodchief's Thirst is going to do a thing. Okay, Generous Visitor's a good draw. We got to take out that Naturalist before they get any benefits from it. Alright. We got to see if this is going to be Naya Runes or if it's going to be Selesnya Enchantments. I think Selesnya Enchantments would be a lot worse for us. Life of Toshiro, and then Life of Toshiro, keep open the Safekeeping could be pretty good if they plan to remove it. So let's go... Life of Toshiro. Shakedown Heavy could be good too, but... But with these builds, you just never know. This could be as simple as a drop a 4th land into the Hollowed Haunting. Yeah, that's scary. We gotta win very soon. Luckily, Bloodchief's Thirst is still available in our hand. And we can easily go +2. Okay, we could still keep the Safekeeping open while dropping the Shakedown Heavy. If we play the Who Endures. But I mean, could you imagine a better target for the Who Endures? Like, for real. I can't. I literally can't imagine a better target, so we should probably hit that. It does take a green mana, but it's fine. It's fine. Oh, we wanted to swing first. This land doesn't come out tapped. That was weird of me. I apologize. We want to attack first while they're tapped out, then kill it, just in case that, like, untapped land actually does something for them. Yeah, a bit of a slower turn to take, like, that extra mana and get rid of the Hollowed Haunting, which they probably just have more of. They can power up Cave. Okay, so I think they're just keeping the cave open. Bloodchief's Thirst is unfortunately a sorcery, but destroy target creature or planeswalker with mana value 3. With mana value 2 or less. It doesn't say non-land or anything, so I think that hits. How come I've never done that before to a creature land? Or maybe I have, and I just don't remember. I think we swing. We have the Tamiyo Safekeeping to protect the visitor. If we really want to, we can also let the visitor get eaten and then play the Shakedown Heavy this turn, but I don't think that's what we do. So Tamiyo Safekeeping. And then we have the Bloodchief's Thirst to take out the cave. Yeah, I don't know why I've never used Bloodchief's Thirst against a creature land. Weird, right? I feel like that's very weird. Because I definitely play with Bloodchief's Thirst enough to see an interaction like that. Maybe I just forgot. Yeah, GG opponent. I think we are getting a little lucky here, aren't we? That first game luck, I'm telling you guys. I'm telling you, get right into that first match of the evening, and it's good luck. Well, I'll take the victories. That's for sure. Don't need the weekly victories right now because, you know, we don't really need any more XP, but the daily victories, that extra gold is pretty important. Also have 3 quests that are all 750 gold. Like, could you imagine? I gotta get at least one of those done today, which I'm hoping to get all of them done because I'm recording some extra videos for the week. I always record my videos in advance anyways, or when I can, I should say. Alright, this is a fine hand. We have the Bloodchief's Thirst as emergency removal for the beginning here. It's weird not seeing my 1-drops when we have 8 of them. Yeah, we have 4 Generous Visitors and then the 4 of the sagas too. Okay, hopefully we get the Ranger class down without having to use the Bloodchief's Thirst right away. Oh yeah. Got some Boros. Probably, right? Kami of Transience was a great draw. But I'm planning on Shakedown Heavy next turn anyways. But it could also be Bloodchief's Thirst and Ranger class, so Kami of Transience is better than the class here. Since we have the option to do this with our 3rd land. Bloodthirsty Adversary. It would be a good trade, but we're just going to take the 4 since the Kami of Transience can get above most of their burn. And we can safely go right into Ranger class. Maybe we should keep the Tamiyo Safekeeping open. Over the Bloodchief's Thirst. How do you guys feel about that play? If it's a Luminarch, I don't know. Yeah, let's keep the Tamiyo Safekeeping open. I wish we could swing there, but yeah. We kind of know exactly what we're playing against, and it's very, very aggressive. There's a reason that it's such a high percentage. Okay, Brutal Cathar. See what they're going to target here. Probably the token. That's worthwhile protecting. That's worthwhile protecting. Since they don't get to swing now. Like if they swing, it's a really bad swing. Yeah. And now we have the Bloodchief's Thirst for the Initiate, or Shakedown Heavy's pretty solid too. Well, actually we get to do both of those, but if we wanted to, we could have kicked this for the Brutal Cathar, but I didn't want to lose the counter on the Kami of Transience. which would be nice to get another counter on, honestly. So powering this up could be really good too. All right, yeah, check this out. So we'll go like this. We'll take out the Initiate. And we'll offer a double block, but what most likely happens here is they take the 6 damage because they're going to think that they can outrace us, but Shakedown Heavy is going to be able to clog up that board state next turn, hopefully. Hopefully that wasn't too greedy of a swing. I think it's going to be fine though, because now they need a couple different burn spells to actually hit the Kami of Transience, or another Brutal Cathar, which would be really, really bad for us, since we already used one of our Safekeepings. Yeah, they think they can outrace us. Now we got to be careful about playing 2 spells on a turn, but they're probably going to do that on their own anyways. Jugan defends the temples pretty good. Probably want to split up the counters on these because of the possibility that they do. So let's get the Shakedown Heavy down. I think that's better than the Jugan this turn, even though the Chump Blocker could be good too, and then a couple counters next turn. Crap, these are tough decisions. Alright, Jugan's a good one, because we already get that extra counter on the Kami of Transience. Now we do have the Chump Blocker. Scary swing. I shouldn't. I don't think I should have done that. It's a scary swing because of Raiju. I will get the Abandoned Mire down. So yeah, a Thundering Raiju's pretty good. No trample on their board though, so we get to chump whatever the biggest thing is. No Luminarch means they don't have like that extra buff too, so I think we're safe. Power up Den. It is a Raiju. Alright. So a swing, probably plug a counter onto the Brute, but if they do that, they get less through because they know we're going to chump whatever the biggest creature is. We're taking 1 extra from the Raiju. They're definitely counting here. If I full swing, do I survive next turn? And the answer is, I think we survive and they don't. So they are taking the spirits and using those as chump blockers, but if we can buff the Kami of Transience, it has... So we're going to be taking 6 here. And they need one more, they need to play 1 more card. Might be a Kumano Faces Kakuzan in their hand, flip this, Brutal Cathar takes the Kami of Transience, and then it's looking really bad. It's going to come down to whatever is in the opponent's hand. We could also just take the 9 and go down to 2, but that could be a play with fire. If it was a play with fire, block, Kami of Transience gets the rest through. I'm gonna risk it, guys. No blocks, let's do it. Down to 2. Okay, it passes to me. So we get a couple counters and we're gonna go onto the Transience, onto you. Getting Bearer of Secrets down is 100% okay. Alright. Should do it. Like I said, it does come down to whatever's in their hand. If it was a play with fire, they would just ping our face. They wouldn't, like, it wouldn't be held up on the monk here. So they could double block into the Kami of Transience, but then this 5 gets through, and still another 5. So it's a block, and then 7 gets through, unless it really, yeah, it just comes down to whatever's in their hand, and we kind of don't know. Yeah, good game, opponent. Woo! Oh, that was a solid victory, guys, against Boros. That one felt good. 3 wins in a row so far. Did we get a little lucky there? Maybe. I had a lot of greedy plays, though. A couple greedy swings. It all ended up paying off, because, yeah, that could have been a play with fire in their hand. Or yeah, it could have been any of their 1-drop red cards that would have flipped the Brutal Cathar to that daytime to grab the Kami of Transience, which would have ended us as well. It's crazy that Brutal Cathar ends up being so good in that build. It's a good card in general, right? But like, it really found its home in that Boros deck, didn't it? Okay, this is a bit of a slower hand, but we've been keeping hands today, so hello opponent. It was tempting to go Hive and then next turn Hive, but not worth it when we have like the Generous Visitor. Okay, I'm definitely expecting some spot removal here. So let's spread out these counters instead of getting too invested into one of the visitors. We also could have gone Kami of Transience this turn too. Infernal Grasp, yep, makes sense. Okay, these Bloodchief's Thirst aren't going to be doing a lot right now. Let's start with the swing. Okay, it does hit. No reason keeping a Bloodchief's Thirst open. They are sorcery speed, unfortunately. Get the Kami of Transience down. Yeah, we got to be careful about a meat hook for 2, but we don't have any ways in our hand to actually get these cards above the meat hook for 2. You'd think it would have happened last time, but maybe they are waiting. Uh-oh. Yeah, these couple Bloodchief's Thirst. It would be really good if we were up against Boros again, right? But I am terrified that meat hook is going to devastate this board. Nothing we could do, though. We do get to power up Hive next turn if we want. Shamble Buddy. It's good to see Shamble Buddy because now we know it's not a meat hook yet. Very good news. My turn. Okay, more land. Could safely play this on green since we have another swamp. And honestly, power up Hive full swing. If it's spot removal for the Hive, I guess that's fine. We have another one and another land. They get to trade Shamble Buddy into any of these though if we do that. Whereas just going Bloodchief's Thirst, we could actually just swing with what's on the board. Now, I'm gonna say it's gonna be worth whatever trades they decide to do with the Shambling Ghast. How do you guys feel about that? Would you guys have just Bloodchief? Because how I think this, so they go for the Visitor even though we haven't, so that's not too bad because we haven't seen any of our enchantments anyways to buff these. It could be, okay, Deadly Dispute means it's not a trade, so we actually get to save our creatures, so they want a treasure token here. Oh, less damage, yeah, that works too. That works too. I thought maybe treasure token for a Blood on the Snow this turn. And then bring back the Shambling Ghast, but doesn't look like, well, they got a land, so it could still be a Blood on the Snow. Hive of the Eye Tyrant could be our savior, but honestly, just drawing anything at this point could be pretty good. Gotta be the Blood on the Snow, bring back the Shamble Buddy. Take action for sure, bring that Kami of Transience back. Woo! Tenacious Underdog's good. So we could actually Bloodchief's Thirst, blitz in the Underdog, but I think it's just going to be power up Hive and swing in for 3. Because has Menace. Sounds pretty good. That Hive might end this game next turn, especially if we just remove their chump blocker. Oh no, well now they have multiple chump blockers. That's no fun. Come on, guys, we could get there. We could totally get there. There's some removal. We have the Bloodchief's Thirst. I think, so we can go. I think we can reestablish our board state now. Gotta find that one damage. I hope I didn't miss one. Isn't that funny? The -1/-1 actually ended up saving them on the Shambling Ghast. That was sweet, opponent. That was actually a decision I wouldn't have thought of. We can go... Yeah, we can go Kami of Transience. There's tough decisions here. Get an extra counter. -1/-1, and we'll go... Oh, man. Just, yeah, really tough decisions. We don't want another Blood on the Snow to bring back the Shambling Ghast next turn, so I think it's going to be the Spider. And if we end up going Bloodchief's Thirst, then they can immediately get 2 spiders back, right? So I think it's just going to be Tenacious Underdog. And keep the Thirst for next turn, hopefully allowing us to get that damage through. I don't know, guys. This is, it's going to be tough to get that last bit of damage through. But if the opponent makes one wrong move, okay, so they go for Invoke Despair. Going to be Tenacious Underdog. We lose the life of Toshiro, which is heartbreaking, but they only have 1 mana. So, that 2 mana. Eye Twitch, crap. Stop it. No, stop, opponent. No more. No more chump blockers, opponent. Excuse me. So, Hive has Menace. We need to know that. 2 of them go there. And then Kami of Transience, right? So, yeah, it's power up Hive. And what? Oh no, auto tap. It doesn't matter because, yeah, like I said, yeah, GG opponent. I was still gonna use the Bloodchief's Thirst though. Either way, just in case I miscalculated somewhere, because yeah, so 2 of them had to block the Hive, the other 2 would have to block the Kami of Transience, but the trample damage would go through regardless. So, wow, 100% win rate. Let's go one more match and see if we can end on a high note. Honestly, defeating mono black control should be the high note that we end on, but but we're only 32 minutes in, so let's see. It's like the deck overperformed. It really did. I thought it was going to be an uphill battle over here in ranked, and we are getting a little lucky, I think. But there's also just a lot of really good cards packed into this deck. Yep. Turn 1 Deathcap. Hopeful Initiate. Well, gee, I wonder what the opponent's running. We could safely play this and go for the Reckoner raid. And Shakedown Heavy is going to be pretty good. It's amazing that we went first here. So important to go first against these... against these builds. Hopefully we get to see our Bloodchief's Thirst. Life gain. Jugan. Jugan is pretty good here too. Now, Shakedown Heavy's better. I wish the Tamiyo Safekeeping was open with the Heavy, since they could go turn 3 Brutal Cathar. But it's better, I think, to just have the Heavy on the board. Okay, Cave actually comes out tapped, so that's good for us. Fateful Absence, yeah, that'll do it too. Swing for a lot, 5, yeah, 5. Woo! Yep, looks like mono white, doesn't it? I was making a joke like, it's definitely more Boros, but it does look like mono white. Shakedown Heavy. Now we do have the Safekeeping open. Or we could just go the other raid. But nah. Because we have a sick trade here if they power up Luminarch and think to themselves like, oh, they would never trade with their Heavy. I don't think the opponent would think that, but... Redain. Okay. Probably plug their counter into that, honestly, and then they don't swing. That's good news for us because any time where an aggro deck like this isn't attacking is just really good news. Plug this counter into the Road Captain. We really want to see our removal, but it doesn't look like we're going to see it right now. The reason we don't plug it into the Shakedown Heavy, while a 7-5 sounds like it would be really good, it could also swing. A double block would be bizarre. Double block would be really good for us, but also just them taking 6 damage here would be really good. Maybe they just have us draw. Yeah, down to 12. We could outrace them. We could totally outrace them. We get a couple counters next turn, and we have the Reckoner raid to gain some life. Ooh, adversary. Ooh. Yeah, go for the Redain, since that has Vigilance and... You guys like how I was like, oh, we could outrace them. This is crazy. And then they do offer a trade with the Luminarch. So we're taking 9 here. Okay, we want to see our removal. We have 2 Maulings, and we have 3 Bloodchiefs. So we should be able to see our removal. It doesn't take a lot for the opponent to just win next turn, so the Safekeeping life gain is going to be huge, but it's still worth activating this ability to see what we can see. More land. Ah, see, that could have been some removal too. Okay, Reckoner raid, and if we can make it so that way they can't swing with their adversary, that would be great. But yeah, like I said, it doesn't take much for them to just get a nice swing in the air with the God of the Worthy. So we're going to keep the Safekeeping open. No attacks, because that would be awful. The Hopeful Initiate can actually get to the point where it can be a 5-6, so it trades with the Heavy. But it might still be a full swing. So they're going to just swing in the air here, but we're going to let this all play out because they might swing on the ground. Okay, so how we do this is, so the life gain from the Safekeeping, huh? We go into our blocking step. We go here and here. Do we want to save the Visitor or save the Heavy? I think it's save the Heavy. 2 blockers. You. Look at that. Down to 1. Oh no, a land. Back up. We have a blocker in the air, but we really, really, really needed to see some removal. So I think that's it. I think the opponent got there with the Cave of the Frost Dragon. So our deck did a lot, guys. Wow. I am 100% satisfied. We might as well swing. We might as well. Maybe they'll remove it from combat and we draw. No way. Oh no, it was another land anyways. Oh no, see, that could have been a removal too. Really good game, opponent. Really good game. That could have gone either way, and our deck was definitely equipped to handle those situations. It just so happened we didn't see it there. That was insane. Let's go, guys. This deck, like I said, outperformed. I'm very satisfied with this Golgari aggro. Let's go ahead, give a look-see here. Final thoughts. The Mauling and the Bloodchief's Thirst seem super necessary against the meta right now, and it came down to, in that last match, were we going to see our spot removal? The answer there was no, but there are 5 cards in the entire build. We did draw quite a bit there, where they even gave us a draw off of the Shakedown Heavy at the end, and we drew off of the Clue too, so not seeing him felt a little bit unlucky. The life gain off the Safekeeping did a lot. The life gain off the Reckoner Raid did a lot. The enchantment theme in here really just did a lot, didn't it? The Jugan was relatively okay. If anything, you could probably drop a couple of these and find another enchantment. If there's another enchantment that actually acts as removal too, then you could consider that. I guess that would be like Meat Hook, right? That's a legendary enchantment you could consider for the build, but you really don't want to hit your own creatures with this at all. Like, you kind of pack your own creatures onto the board too. You don't have too much mana either, so the X on this could get pretty pricey. Like, you don't have 4 mana all too often, especially not right away. And so going Meat Hook for 2 could be very difficult. I don't think the answer here is Meat Hook. Even if it's not an enchantment, maybe drop 1 or 2 Jugans and find more removal if you're up against a lot of Boros or the mono white or any other aggro build. But if you're not and you're going up against a lot more control, mono black control, is it control is everywhere right now, then you might want to find more creatures, I guess, or just keep the Jugan defends the temple in. And you guys could see how the monk, like, it didn't come into play, but the tapping for the monk here would have been pretty good, because you guys saw a lot of scenarios where we did want like an extra mana, whether it was to keep the Safekeeping open, or an extra mana for a Bloodchief's Thirst, or even just an extra mana to be able to power up Ranger class sooner. I mean, even Tenacious Underdog, the blitz cost is 4, so that could get expensive very fast too, so. I don't know. I really liked this one. You guys will have to let me know what you thought down in the comments. Regardless, if you made it this far into the video, y'all are champions, and I super duper appreciate you, and I will see you in the next video.